The pain you carry today isn't accidental, it's an echo from a soul that's journeyed across centuries seeking its own healing. There comes a point in everyone's life where pain becomes so intense, so pervasive, that escape seems impossible. It's in that moment of complete surrender that something extraordinary happens. The soul awakens to its true nature. Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, revealed through his psychic readings that all pain carries a sacred purpose, a secret code our current consciousness hasn't fully deciphered. Carl Jung, exploring the archetypes of the collective unconscious, discovered that our deepest suffering is in fact a bridge connecting our present personality to unintegrated aspects of our eternal psyche. Sigmund Freud, even focusing on the conscious mind, touched upon something far greater when he recognized that our oldest traumas shape our present reality in ways we can't imagine. But what these three giants of human understanding didn't explicitly state, and what Cayce revealed in his deepest visions, is that pain is a language. A language our soul uses to remind us of who we truly are, where we come from, and most importantly, what we've come to heal in this lifetime. When you feel that inexplicable tightness in your chest, when an inexplicable sadness washes over your heart during seemingly happy moments, or when certain situations trigger disproportionate reactions, know that your soul is trying to communicate with you in a language that transcends linear time. Imagine for a moment that you aren't just this body, this personality, this known history. Imagine you are an ancient soul, a traveler through many lifetimes, carrying within your essence the subtle memory of each life lived, each love experienced, each loss suffered, each lesson learned or yet to be learned. Cayce taught that we are eternal beings on a temporary journey through matter, and that each incarnation is a unique opportunity to balance energies, heal old wounds, and evolve spiritually. The pain we feel today might be the echo of a betrayal lived centuries ago, a love lost in another era, an injustice suffered in immemorial times, or guilt carried across multiple lifetimes. Jung spoke of synchronicities, those magical moments when seemingly unrelated events connect meaningfully, as if the universe is trying to send us a message. How many times have you experienced this? How many times have you thought of someone, and that person appeared or contacted you? How many times has a song played at the exact moment you needed to hear its words? How many times have you found exactly what you needed at the most improbable times? These aren't coincidences. They are whispers from the soul, gentle reminders that there's a higher intelligence orchestrating our journey, and that our pain is part of a plan far grander and more beautiful than our limited minds can comprehend. Cayce revealed the Akashic Records, a cosmic library containing the experiences of all souls throughout all lifetimes. When we feel inexplicable pain, irrational fears, or magnetic attractions to certain people or places, our soul is accessing these records, bringing to the surface memories that need healing, integration, or understanding. The woman terrified of water without ever having experienced a traumatic drowning in this life might be remembering a drowning death in another existence. The man who feels profound sadness every time he sees the sunset might be reconnecting with the memory of a last shared moment with a great love in another era. Freud discovered that our unconscious mind holds repressed memories that influence our present behavior. But what if those memories weren't just from this life? What if our psyche were an infinitely deeper ocean than he imagined? Cayce taught that we carry within our soul not only the experiences of this existence, but also the impressions, traumas, talents, and tendencies of all past lives. This explains why some children demonstrate extraordinary abilities from a young age, why certain people have specific fears without apparent reason, and why we feel instantly connected to some people while others cause inexplicable discomfort. Pain in this context becomes a sacred teacher. It points us exactly where our soul needs attention, healing, and integration. When you feel disproportionate jealousy in a healthy relationship, your soul might be remembering past betrayals that need healing through forgiveness and renewed trust. When you have a visceral rejection of authority, you might be carrying the memory of injustices suffered in lives where you were persecuted, oppressed, or silenced. When you feel profound loneliness even surrounded by people, your soul might be yearning for connections lost in other existences and yet to be refound in this one. Jung developed the concept of the shadow, those aspects of our personality that we deny, repress, or project onto others. But the shadow Jung spoke of extends far beyond this life. Our cosmic shadow includes all unresolved aspects of all our past existences. The pride that bothers us in others might reflect lives where we were arrogant and caused suffering. The greed we judge might echo existences where we were greedy and harmed others. The violence that repels us might be a memory of lives where we were violent, and now our soul seeks atonement through compassion. But here's the big secret Edgar Cayce revealed: all pain is also an opportunity for healing, not just for ourselves, but for the entire chain of souls involved in our karmic dramas. When you genuinely forgive someone who has hurt you, you're not only freeing yourself, you're also releasing that person's soul from a karmic debt that could extend across many lifetimes. When you choose to respond with love where you might have responded with anger, you're breaking ancestral patterns that could continue repeating for generations. And it's here at this precise moment in our conversation that I need to tell you something important. If these words are resonating with you, if you're feeling a deep recognition of these truths, it's no coincidence. You were guided to this video because your soul is ready to awaken to a deeper understanding of your journey. There's a growing community of awakened souls gathered on this channel, sharing this journey of self-discovery and spiritual healing. If you feel you belong to this family of light, if you recognize that the time has come to delve deeper into these teachings that can completely transform your understanding of life, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. It's not just a click, it's a sacred commitment to your own spiritual evolution. It's a way of telling the universe that you're ready to receive more wisdom, more healing, more connection with your true essence. Every video we share here is a key to a different door of your soul, and when you subscribe, you ensure you'll never miss these awakening opportunities that fate places in your path. Now let me tell you about encounters that are not by chance. Have you ever met someone and had the immediate feeling that this person was familiar, even though you'd never met before? Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt like you've known that soul for much longer than this life allows? Edgar Cayce talked about soul groups, sets of consciousnesses that reincarnate together life after life, playing different roles in each other's lives, always with the purpose of mutual evolution. That person you deeply loved and who caused you the greatest pain might be a soulmate in the truest sense of the word, not necessarily someone destined to stay with you forever, but someone destined to teach you something fundamental about love, forgiveness, or inner strength. Jung observed that we are drawn to people who carry aspects we need to integrate within ourselves, but this attraction goes far beyond the psychology of this life. Cayce taught that we relate intimately with the same souls in multiple incarnations, sometimes as lovers, sometimes as parents and children, sometimes as close friends, sometimes as enemies, always dancing the eternal dance of spiritual evolution. The person who is your greatest challenge in this life may have been your greatest love in another. The absent father may have been the son you abandoned centuries ago. The controlling mother may have been the rebellious daughter you couldn't understand in another existence. This doesn't mean we should passively accept toxic or abusive relationships. On the contrary, it means we should understand that every difficult relationship is an opportunity to break old karmic patterns through conscious choices. When you choose to walk away from someone who hurts you but do so with compassion instead of hatred, you are raising the energy between you. When you set healthy boundaries with love instead of anger, you are teaching your soul and the other person's soul about self-love and mutual respect. Freud said that the first years of life shape our adult personality. But what if our childhood in this life were just the continuation of a much longer story? Cayce revealed that we choose our family, our birth circumstances, our initial challenges, all based on what our soul needs to learn and heal. The child born into a dysfunctional family may be learning about forgiveness and self-esteem. The child born with physical disabilities may be teaching unconditional love to everyone around them. The child who loses their parents early may be learning about independence and inner strength that they will need in future missions. But perhaps the deepest aspect of spiritual pain is understanding that it always carries within itself the seeds of its own healing. Jung spoke of the transcendent function of the psyche, the natural capacity of our mind to integrate opposites and find synthesis in contradictions. Casey taught something similar, that our soul has an innate wisdom that always knows the way back to wholeness. Pain breaks us, but it is precisely in the cracks that the light enters. It is in the vulnerability forced by pain that we find our true strength. It is in the apparent despair that we discover inner resources we didn't even know we possessed. Think about the most difficult moments of your life. Now look back and observe what qualities did you develop through those experiences. What understandings about life, about people, about yourself, were only possible through those challenges. The compassion you feel today for others who suffer was born from your own suffering. The wisdom you offer to friends in crisis was forged in the fire of your own crises. The strength you demonstrate in the face of new challenges was developed by overcoming past challenges. Edgar Cayce taught that we are co-creators with the divine, that our consciousness has the power to shape our reality. This means we can transform our relationship with pain, from passive victims to active participants in our own healing. When you stop asking why is this happening to me, and start asking what is this trying to teach me, you completely shift the energetic dynamic of your experience. Pain ceases to be an enemy to be fought and becomes a messenger to be heard. Jung discovered that our dreams often carry important messages about our psychological journey. Cayce went further. He taught that our dreams are one of the primary ways our soul communicates with us, bringing insights from past lives, guidance for the present, and even glimpses of future possibilities. How many times have you dreamt of people you've never met, places you've never been, situations completely foreign to your current life? These may be echoes of other existences, soul memories trying to surface into consciousness to bring healing or understanding. Physical pain also carries profound spiritual messages. Cayce taught that the body is a reflection of the soul, that each organ, each system, each cell is connected to specific aspects of our spiritual journey. Chronic headaches may indicate resistance to expanding consciousness. Heart problems may reflect unhealed emotional wounds. Digestive issues may be related to difficulty digesting life experiences. Back problems may indicate a lack of emotional support or an overload of responsibility. But here's something fascinating. Freud, Jung, and Cayce, each in their own way, arrived at the same fundamental conclusion, that true healing only happens when we bring the unconscious into consciousness, when we integrate denied aspects of ourselves, when we stop projecting onto others what we don't want to see in ourselves. The difference is that Cayce expanded this concept to include multiple existences and the eternal journey of the soul. This means your current pain may be an opportunity to heal not only traumas from this life, but patterns your soul has carried for a very long time. When you consciously work with your fears, your resistances, your self-destructive patterns, you're not just healing yourself, you're healing your entire spiritual lineage, all the versions of you that existed before and still exist in the timeless dimension of the soul. Meditation, prayer, and deep introspection then become tools of spiritual archaeology. Through them, you can access deeper layers of your psyche, connect with the wisdom of your soul, and begin to understand the patterns that repeat in your life, not as punishments, but as opportunities for spiritual mastery. Jung spoke of individuation, the process of becoming who we truly are, integrating all aspects of our personality into a conscious wholeness. Cayce taught something similar, but on a much larger scale, that the purpose of all our incarnations is to eventually remember who we are as souls, reconnect with our divine nature, and express that divinity through our humanity. Pain, in this context, becomes sacred. It is the chisel that sculpts our soul, removing all that is non-essential, revealing the divine artwork that has always been there. Each tear shed is an offering on the altar of your own transformation. Each moment of anguish borne consciously is one more step on the journey back to spiritual home. But perhaps the most transformative teaching is understanding that you are never alone in your pain. Edgar Cayce taught that there are beings of light, spirit guides, angels, and even higher aspects of ourselves, constantly trying to help us, guide us, comfort us. When you open yourself to this possibility, when you ask for help not only from physical people, but also from these subtle presences, you begin to notice signs, synchronicities, intuitions, that previously went unnoticed. The stranger who smiles at you at the exact moment you most need a kind gesture. The book that accidentally falls off a shelf, landing open to the page containing exactly the answer you were seeking. The song on the radio that seems to have been chosen especially for you. The advice from a friend that echoes exactly what your intuition has been whispering. These are not accidents. They are manifestations of the unconditional love the universe has for you, constant reminders that you are loved, supported, and guided even in the darkest moments. Freud revolutionized our understanding by showing that much of what motivates our behavior lies below the level of consciousness. Jung expanded this view by revealing that there are universal archetypal patterns that influence all of humanity. Cayce went even further, showing that our individual consciousness is connected to a cosmic consciousness, that our personal journey is part of a collective spiritual evolution of humanity. This means that when you heal your pain, you're not just benefiting yourself, you're contributing to the healing of all humanity. Every person who breaks a pattern of violence in their family is helping to break the pattern of violence in the world. Every person who chooses forgiveness instead of revenge is adding more light to the collective energy field. Every person who transforms their pain into compassion is raising the vibration of the entire planet. Your most intimate struggles, therefore, have cosmic significance. Your personal pain is part of a universal symphony of spiritual evolution. You are not just an individual suffering alone, you are a courageous soul who chose to incarnate at this specific moment in history to assist in the planetary transformation that is taking place. Jung observed that the greatest spiritual insights often emerge from the most difficult periods of our lives. He called this enantiodromia, the tendency of opposites to transform into one another. The darkest night precedes the dawn. The harshest winter precedes the most beautiful spring. The deepest pain can give birth to the most luminous wisdom. Cayce taught that our soul always knows the perfect timing for every experience. That heartbreak that seemed to arrive at the worst possible moment may have been exactly what you needed to develop self-love. That financial loss that seemed to derail your plans may have been the push you needed to discover talents you didn't even know you possessed. That illness that forced you to stop may have been the only way your soul could get your attention for important changes that needed to happen. And here's something profound. Freud, Jung, and Cayce each discovered that there's a wisdom within us that's far greater than our conscious mind. Freud called it the unconscious, Jung called it the self, Cayce called it the soul. They all agreed that this inner wisdom always knows what's best for us, even when our personality doesn't understand or agree. This means you can trust the process of your life, even when you don't understand where you're being led. Your pain has a purpose, even if you don't see it yet. Your most challenging experiences are forging within you qualities you'll need for your life's mission. The most challenging relationships are teaching you about unconditional love in ways that easy relationships never could. The key is to develop what Cayce called intelligent faith, a combination of spiritual trust with practical discernment. This means accepting that there's a larger plan for your life, without becoming passive in the face of situations that require action. It means trusting your soul's process, without ceasing to use your intelligence to make the best choices possible in each moment. Jung discovered that our psyche has a natural tendency toward healing and wholeness, what he called the self-regulating function. Cayce taught something similar, that our soul has an innate drive toward spiritual perfection. This means that even when you feel completely lost, there's an inner compass within you that always points in the direction of your greatest happiness and fulfillment. Sometimes this inner compass manifests as intuition, that subtle feeling that something is right or wrong, even when your mind can't explain why. Sometimes it manifests as synchronicities, those magical moments when the universe seems to conspire in your favor. Sometimes it manifests through other people who appear in your life at the exact moment you need the message they bring. Pain, viewed from this perspective, becomes a spiritual navigation system. When you're following your soul's path, even challenges carry an underlying sense of purpose and meaning. When you're straying from your true path, even external successes can leave an inexplicable emptiness. Your soul uses both pleasure and pain to guide you toward your greatest expression and fulfillment. Freud showed how seemingly forgotten childhood events continue to influence our adult lives. Jung expanded on this by showing how ancestral patterns and universal archetypes shape our experience. Casey revealed that these patterns can extend across multiple lifetimes, creating recurring themes that our soul is trying to resolve. Perhaps you've noticed patterns in your life, specific types of people who always show up, situations that repeat with slight variations, challenges that persist even when you change environments or circumstances. These aren't signs that you're unlucky or doing something wrong. They're indications that your soul is persistently working on specific issues that are important for your evolution. The person who always attracts relationships with emotionally unavailable individuals may be learning about self-worth and setting healthy boundaries. The person who always faces financial challenges may be transcending issues related to self-confidence and worthiness. The person who constantly deals with health problems may be integrating lessons about self-care and mind-body connection. Jung spoke of the collective shadow, the denied and repressed aspects not only of individuals, but of entire societies. Casey taught that courageous souls choose to incarnate during times of great planetary transformation to help heal these collective shadows. If you feel you're living in particularly challenging times, if you feel the world is undergoing intense transformations, it may be because your soul chose to be here right now to contribute to the evolution of human consciousness. Your personal struggles may be connected to issues that all of humanity needs to resolve. Your journey of healing family trauma may be contributing to breaking generational patterns that affect millions. Your work on developing self-esteem may be adding light to humanity's collective field of self-acceptance. Your practice of forgiveness may be helping to dissolve reservoirs of hate and resentment that poison our planetary consciousness. And here we arrive at a truly revolutionary understanding that individual pain is sacred not only because it promotes your own evolution, but because it contributes to the evolution of all life. Each time you choose love over fear, understanding over judgment, forgiveness over revenge, you're voting for the kind of world you want to see emerge. Freud discovered that neurotic symptoms often disappear when we bring to light the repressed memories that cause them. Jung observed that psychological complexes dissolve when we consciously integrate the rejected aspects of our personality. Casey taught that karmic patterns complete themselves when we learn the lessons we came to learn and make the choices our soul knows are right. This means your current pain may be signaling that you're ready for a release, for a healing, for a transformation you've been preparing for perhaps over many lifetimes. The fact that you're here listening to these words, seeking a deeper understanding of your experiences, may be a sign that it's time for your soul to take a quantum leap in its evolution. But perhaps the most beautiful revelation is understanding that from the perspective of your eternal soul, you have never truly lost anything. All the people you loved continue to live in the spirit dimension. All the experiences you lived continue to live in the Akashic records of your consciousness. All the talents you developed, all the qualities you acquired, all the wisdom you gained, all of this is eternally yours. The death we so fear is only a transition, like taking off old clothes and putting on new ones. The goodbyes that hurt us so much are only temporary. See you laters on an eternal journey of reconnections. The losses that break us are opportunities to discover that our true identity lies far beyond what can be lost. Jung spent the last years of his life exploring near-death experiences and paranormal phenomena, concluding that human consciousness transcends the physical brain. Casey, through his readings, meticulously mapped the spiritual planes, where our soul continues to evolve between incarnations. Both arrived at the same revolutionary conclusion: we are much more than our bodies, much more than our temporary personalities, much more than our current stories. You are an eternal soul experiencing a temporary human adventure. Your current pain is just one chapter in an epic story that began long before you were born and will continue long after your current body returns to the earth. From this expanded perspective, even your most difficult moments become precious because they are unique opportunities for growth that are only possible through human experience. The compassion you feel for others who suffer is an echo of your own journey through pain. The wisdom you offer friends in crisis has been distilled from your own crises. The strength you demonstrate in the face of adversity has been forged in the fires of past adversities. You become a beacon of light for others not in spite of your pain, but because of how you chose to transform your pain into wisdom, your wounds into healing, your darkness into light. And so we arrive at the heart of this revelation. Your pain is not a cosmic accident. It is not divine punishment. It is not evidence that you did something wrong or that you are inferior in any way. Your pain is evidence of your courage, the courage of a soul that chose to incarnate, chose to grow, chose to love, even knowing that loving includes the possibility of loss, chose to dream, even knowing that dreaming includes the possibility of disillusionment, chose to trust, even knowing that trusting includes the possibility of betrayal. Your pain is evidence of your divine humanity, the extraordinary capacity to feel deeply, to care intensely, to love unconditionally, even in a world that doesn't always reciprocate that love. Your pain is evidence that you are alive, truly alive, not just existing, but fully participating in the human experience in all its intensity and complexity. Carl Jung said that we don't heal by escaping pain, but by consciously traversing it. Sigmund Freud discovered that symptoms disappear when we stop repressing the experiences that cause them and integrate them with understanding. Edgar Cayce taught that every experience, however difficult, carries within itself the seeds of its own transcendence when approached with faith, wisdom, and love. All three, each in their own unique way, arrived at the same fundamental conclusion that within you there is a wisdom greater than your conscious mind, a healing force greater than your fears, a light brighter than your deepest darkness. That wisdom, that force, that light, is your soul, and it will never abandon you, never give up on you, never stop loving you unconditionally. Your journey through pain, therefore, is also a journey back home, the home of the awareness of who you truly are. 60 of Anden de maiming pain, when she sold the fart brother risey. Each healed wound is a recovered memory of your own divinity. Each broken pattern is one less chain holding you back from flying. Each lesson learned is one more step on the ladder that leads you back to the realization that you were never truly separated from the love, wisdom, and peace you have always sought outside of yourself. The pain you carry today is not yours by chance. It is an echo of a soul that has traversed centuries, seeking its own healing, and that is finally ready to find, in you, through you, by means of you, the liberation it has always known to be possible. And when that healing happens,
when you look back and realize how each pain was a stepping stone, how each tear was a seed, how each dark moment was an opportunity for your light to shine more intensely, you will understand that there is no such thing as chance in the universe, only an infinite love orchestrating our eternal dance toward home. What question is your soul asking through your pain at this very moment, and will you have the courage to hear the answer that is already whispering in your heart?